What up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Shinobi Squad Podcast. I'm fan service Renji.
I'm Shana Mostella.
Today we're gonna, of course, you would jump up here right now, interrupting the show, Katara.
She is fashionably late.
I'm here, guys. Anyways, today we're gonna talk about a few things. Today we're gonna start off by talking about the coronavirus, COVID-19. Over the last few weeks, it's hit home for Shana and I. People in our immediate lives, families, and friends have all contracted different levels of COVID. They're all suffering differently.
Yeah, my dad actually caught the virus. Me and him aren't close like that, but I did gather some information from his wife about what was going on with him. He was put on a respirator. He was in the ER for quite a long time, maybe like a few weeks, I want to say. He was in really bad shape at the time. He had the coughing, he had the fever, he had stuff like that. And it was scary just knowing that, someone I knew had it. You always think about these things like, well, it's never going to happen to me or it's never going to happen to someone that I know. And so that's why I think a lot of people just pass it off and just, make it like a nonchalant kind of thing. But it's scary knowing somebody, especially someone in your immediate family who actually has it.
Especially because that's your dad.
Right.
That's your flesh and blood. You're seeing how he's reacting to it.
Yeah.
And he's not reacting well.
Right.
You got those same genes. Like, you may be reacting the same way.
Yeah.
Do you know where he possibly caught it?
Well, he works at the University of Michigan, the college. He's a maintenance man. I don't know too much about exactly what he does, but I know he works with pipes and stuff of that nature. So I wouldn't really imagine there being a whole bunch of people being around his work area. So it's weird. Of course, there's going to be germs on surfaces and stuff like that. For the most part, he's not really around people like that. So that's even more scary to me.
Yeah, he's a maintenance engineer. If you guys aren't watching the YouTube version of this, you can see our cat Katara decided that this was the perfect moment to lick her booty on camera. And now she's going back to sleep. Fine, I'll stop licking my booty. Interrupting a serious moment here,
I know, right?
Anyways, as we were saying, he's a maintenance engineer.
Yeah.
He's not in the mix with people. He's just wherever something needs to be looked at.
Right.
Especially if you're working on the pipes. It's not like the students are in the back corners of the school, under the school.
Right.
Also, aren't colleges doing homeschooling right now as well? Online schooling?
Right.
Most schools are online right now.
Who knows? Like I said, I don't know too much about his environment, his work environment, stuff like that. So who knows who's really in and out that building or who was around at the time? And that just goes to show you just how ninja-like this virus is, because you never know how you're going to catch it. I have another friend who is an essential worker. She's a retail manager, and she's exposed to hundreds and hundreds of people per day. And she's in that line of traffic. Sometimes there's people who don't wear a mask. There's people who still don't understand the significance of wearing a mask. And she has to be in the midst of all that. She contracted the virus as well. But that just goes to show you, it could be on a lower spectrum, like my dad, or it could be in a high volume kind of thing where you're surrounded by people and you're exposed to more germs. So she ended up catching it too. And, luckily, I don't think she had it that bad, but she did feel a lot of the symptoms. But it wasn't as bad as where my dad had to go to the ER, But I'm very thankful because a lot of people react to it differently. But just imagine having to be out there working and there's people out there who still can't wear a mask.
It's ridiculous how people don't understand that simple concept.
Exactly.
The mask isn't so much for you. It's for everyone else.
Yeah, because you could have it and not know it.
You may only see 10 to 20 people when you go to the grocery store, but the people that work there, they have to see hundreds of people, including people that still refuse to wear masks. They may think they're the only ones not wearing a mask. I'm not going to hurt anybody. But then there's 20 other dumbasses that think exactly the same.
Right. And what's even worse, I heard about somebody who happened to go to the grocery store just like any other day, and they caught coronavirus just by having droplets on their clothes, and they ended up wiping their face with their shirt or something like that, and caught the virus right away. Just because you think because you're young and you don't have a autoimmune disease or that you don't get sick easily, this virus, you don't know how it's going to affect you. No matter if you're like that kind of person, or if you get sick easily, you don't know. So, why wouldn't you want to save yourself from that headache and that risk?
Exactly. Even if it's not going to kill you, it still sucks to be sick.
Yeah, it does.
Especially to be sick and not have any treatment for it.
Exactly.
There's no Corona NyQuil you can buy right now.
Yeah, and speaking of NyQuil, they started off this whole coronavirus thing before when quarantine was starting. They're saying, oh yeah, take Mucinex, take cough medicines. And then out of nowhere, they're like, don't take Mucinex, don't take cough medicine. Like if I got sick, I wouldn't know what to do because I need to take Mucinex. I get sinus pressure no matter how sick I am. So I need to take Mucinex. And you're telling me I can't take the one thing that could possibly like relieve my pains and my symptoms?
Oh yeah.
So it's a whole thing.
Yeah, they were telling people don't take Mucinex, and then someone came up with the bright idea: drink diluted bleach.
What?
That'll fix you. Bleach kills everything. I'm sure there are a bunch of people out there actually drinking diluted bleach, mixing it with Kool-Aid to give it flavor.
God.
Some country bumpkin was like, I got bleach. That's cheaper than insurance.
It's not funny, but it's funny because
It's not funny, but it's funny. But it's not, because people out there doing it.
Exactly. They'd rather drink bleach than wear a mask. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's even worse.
Because drinking bleach is apparently more comfortable than wearing a mask.
I bet it is for them.
I feel for a lot of my friends who work retail right now. I'm surprised more of them haven't come out sick.
Right.
Others had family and friends or people in their stores that got coronavirus. Ugh. They just happened to luck out. It's crazy. Like, some people work at these places where outbreaks are happening, 10, 15 cases in one store, yet the store is not doing any more than they were. They're not upping their sanitation practices. They're not cleaning more often. They're just doing the same shit, even though week after week, someone else gets sick.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah. As for myself, my older brother got COVID. He has been suffering for the last 3 weeks.
Wow.
It's been really bad. It's been quite the emotional roller coaster for the family. Just to let you know how serious it was, he was one fever away from dying. It got that bad.
Man.
I was finally able to talk to him to get the details from him. Just hearing him tell his story, I hurt for him. This brother of mine, he usually isn't a big talker. When I got on the phone with him, he could not wait to tell me his story. He couldn't believe he caught it in the first place. Then he was surprised that he survived. Throughout this conversation, he kept saying, I felt like I was going to die. I felt like I was going to die. I have never felt this terrible in my life.
Wow.
Let's go back to the origin of it. He caught it from work. He works for this very small production plant that makes high-grade medical test parts. Pretty much, they make fake organs and fake body parts for students to study and learn on. They're very realistic. They're used in doctors' offices and colleges across the country. This company employs only 30 people. That's the office side and the manual production side. My brother works on the production side. He works in a room with just him and my other brother. Their workstations are like separated like 20 feet apart. They don't see anyone most of the day. The only time they see other people is if someone comes into their workspace to borrow a tool, ask a question, or when they go to the bathroom or go to the parking lot. That's it. There's no break room. There's no nothing. My brother started feeling the symptoms for a whole week. That first week, my brother started feeling really terrible. He came down with probably 80% of the symptoms, already feeling terrible. He said an hour of work felt like he was there for 18 hours. He was just exhausted and drained. He quickly lost his sense of taste. Just going down like the list of symptoms. He wasn't feeling good. He went to go get tested. His test came back negative. He was like, okay, I guess I don't have the coronavirus. I can go back to work. He went back to work. Week 2 started feeling worse and worse. Finally, someone comes to work and said they tested positive for the coronavirus. By the end of week 2, my brother could barely stand. He tried to tell his boss, dude, I don't feel good. But since there's so very few people in this company, They couldn't afford for him not to be there because he's the only one that does that job. He pretty much collapses at work.
Wow.
Finally goes to the ER. They have him there. He is doing poorly. Doctors test him. He tests positive for the coronavirus. His wife asks, how long do you think my husband's had this COVID? Based on his symptoms and what he said, he's been sick for at least 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
That scared them. He's been home with his family these last 2 weeks.
Right.
That first test, though he was showing most of the symptoms and him feeling terrible, said he was negative. He still went back to work. That other person still went back to work until they finally got tested positive. They come to find out that one person infected 10 other people.
Oh, shit.
The plant finally shut down when one of the plant managers got COVID.
Finally.
Exactly. Finally, after my brother was admitted to the ER and then he found out his boss caught the virus too, they finally shut down the plant and they finally said, okay, it's okay if you guys take a week off.
Only a week?
Only a week. The doctors were like, no. If someone tests positive for COVID, they have to stay home for at least 2 weeks and quarantine themselves. The owner calls my brother while he's in his sick bed in the ER, trying to get him to come back to work after a week.
What an asshole.
He's pretty much low-key threatening him. You need to come back to work. My brother could barely speak.
Wow.
By this point, he couldn't eat, he couldn't drink, and when he did, he couldn't hold the food down.
Damn.
They had to hook him to an IV just so he stayed hydrated.
Fuck, man.
In those 3 weeks, he lost over 10 pounds, and he was bedridden. The owner still kept pushing him, and I quote, this is what he said, I know you're sick, but it's not like you're going to die from it. You'll be fine.
Like the same words that every person who thinks COVID's just a myth. Don't be scared.
Famous last words.
Wow.
It's not like you're going to die from it. As he's laying in the hospital bed after the doctor pretty much told him, if you get a fever, you're going to die.
Oh, shit.
Your body is already struggling with all these other symptoms. The doctor told him and his family, you can't take any more than this. This is your limit. We got to do the best we can to take care of you and keep that fever down. His wife and his kids are freaking out, not only for him, but for themselves as well.
Right.
They've been exposed to him for 2 weeks.
Right.
His wife is even more scared because her cousin and her uncle that live out of state caught COVID back in May, and they both died.
Oh, wow.
So now this whole family not only possibly has it, but they already know people that have had it and died.
That's crazy.
I couldn't even imagine the pain that the family's going through.
Right.
I'm not surprised that it took them so long to let everyone else know. They're still trying to process it themselves.
Right.
My other brother had to tell me, he's like, hey, you know our older brother got COVID, right? I'm like, since when?
Right. I know, because they just said nothing. Nobody said anything.
He didn't say anything, but it makes sense. How could he say something? He was dying
Right.
in the hospital.
I know if I was like his wife, like I would want to just focus on like getting him better. I would probably tell like the immediate family, but we're all the way out here in LA, so I get it. But damn, that's a lot to just not tell somebody, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure they were still trying to figure out and get it under wraps and trying to figure out what to do with the kids. I'm sure they were trying to sanitize their house like crazy.
Yeah.
Finally, my brother gets discharged from the ER. They pretty much said he wasn't sick enough to keep him there. He was like, what do you mean I'm not sick enough? I'm about to die. But then the doctor was like, with your symptoms, yeah, you're pretty weak, but you can still lay at home and be cared for. So that meant there was other people worse than him waiting for that bed.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to keep in mind the other people who have COVID and who needed to be hospitalized. Because luckily, did your brother need to be on a respirator? Do you know?
Luckily, he didn't.
Okay.
That's why they said he could go home.
Okay.
They just told him how to take care of him, and they could do that from home. It's because he did not need a respirator.
Right.
That they had to free up that bed for someone else that needed it.
He probably could have stayed there if, it wasn't like a pandemic, and everyone else has it too. But that's crazy still.
And he told me what was so shocking and why they didn't tell people. They didn't think anyone was going to believe them. They live in a small town in West Michigan. I have friends that still live there. That's my hometown. They're already back to hanging out at the pool hall, not wearing masks. They're already back to dining in at restaurants.
Wow.
People go to the grocery store like nothing's happening. They're like, oh, it's a small town. COVID's not going to come here. That's the attitude these people have. My brother told me he's the only one at work that wears a mask. Even my other brother doesn't because he doesn't believe in it.
Wow.
I hope he does now because he's probably not too far after.
Right.
He's probably going to get sick next too.
I was going to say, didn't you say they're in the same office?
They're in the same room, yeah.
Oh, wow.
These two work in the same room. They're the only ones separated from the rest of the production plant.
But to even just see his brother suffering, like, why wouldn't you believe? That's weird.
This small town, their cases were super low. But just like every zombie movie ever, all it takes is one person infected to infect the whole city. As at the time of this podcast recording, the family was still waiting to get their COVID results back. My brother has been quarantined to the basement. He's on some medieval ring a bell and someone leaves food at the end of the steps for him to come get, just so he's away from the family. He's doing bad. He's slowly getting better, but he's still doing pretty bad. Even though his dumbass has COVID and the owner are still trying to pressure him to come back.
Wow.
His boss is like, well, everyone else came back after a week. My brother's just sitting there like, so 9 other people that were infected with COVID came back.
So it's not gone yet.
They're just going to spread it to everyone else.
Right.
How can they be back at work when they all got sent home at the same time?
Right.
It's only been a week. It got so bad to where my brother's doctor had to call and threaten a lawsuit against the plant. If you harass my patient about coming back to work, I will sue you myself.
Wow. That's good.
I will bring the law down on your plant and it's going to get shut down.
Good. There needs to be more people like her.
The owners finally backed off. Okay, well, you take off as much time as you need. My brother's terrified to go back to work.
Right. I would be too.
He's scared. He's like, I don't want to go back and get infected again. I might not survive this time.
Wow. I know he's lucky that he got just what he got and not anything further. Good thing.
He's in no position to work anytime soon.
And he doesn't have that many people within his surroundings, so that's even scarier. So I would be terrified.
Yeah, he's been trying to figure out who got him sick at work.
Well, wasn't it the guy that came in and said that he had the virus too?
He may have infected other people, but my brother can't tell if he was the one that directly got him. He's like, I don't know. I could have touched the doorknob. Someone could have borrowed my tool and didn't tell me.
Right.
I know my job doesn't sanitize shit.
Right. And they don't believe in COVID over there.
Exactly.
So who knows?
There was even a moment where he was trying to eat lunch at his station and he was looking down watching his phone. This guy comes up to him, starts talking to him, no mask, and just within like inches of his face talking. And my brother didn't realize he was there. That guy could have been spitting in his food the whole time he was talking.
Ew.
My brother was watching a movie on his phone and he didn't know that this guy was in front of him until he could smell him. He's like, what the hell? He looked up and this guy is up in his grill just talking. So my brother could have got COVID that moment. Either way, he knows he got it from work.
And let me just throw it out there really quick. If you're one of those people who don't believe that you need to wear a mask outside, whether you believe in COVID or not, have some decency, some human decency, and some respect for other people. You might not care. Other people might have an autoimmune disease, something you can't see or know about somebody unless they told you or unless you knew already. So have respect for those people out there who can easily get sick just because you don't believe in COVID.
It's like, bro, COVID or not, personal space.
Exactly.
Someone is on their break eating lunch. You can clearly tell he's eating. You're going to be up in his grill running your mouth.
No. And you see, if he's the only person in the whole place that wears a mask, don't you think like, okay, maybe I need to step away or maybe email him? Do you need to be right there? There's email, there's text, there's phones, there's so many different ways of communication in today's world. Oh my God, that irritates me.
Yeah.
Yeah, respecting someone's personal space and their workspace is so vital. I have my own story about that. Before the pandemic, I worked at a really big hotel. I started off as a laundry attendant and then I got promoted to shipping and receiving manager. I had my own office. It wasn't just like a regular office. I had my own loft, like my own floor, even. The way my hotel was set up, the loading dock was separate from the hotel. So I was pretty much away from everybody. I don't have an autoimmune disease, but I do get sick really easily. When I have a cold, I have really bad sinus pressure. It all like gets congested right here to where there's times where I can't sleep because I'm coughing or constantly feeling pressure in my head, and my head feels like it's gonna float away into space. I am very careful as it is. So when I was working as a laundry attendant, I was washing my hands all day, every day, and I still would get sick. Still. And that's to be expected because it's laundry. You're touching people's dirty,
Yeah, you touching nasty
yeah.
hotel guests' sheets and stuff.
So that's to be expected. And I got that. But when I was promoted, again, I had my own loft, my own floor, my own like home away from home.
Yeah, a lot of shipping and receiving desks or offices are in the docks. No other employee needs to be there unless they're working on shipping and receiving.
There would be other employees passing through every once in a while, but it wasn't like traffic. I didn't get like a whole bunch of like foot traffic or anything like that. When shipping companies would come in and they would drop off their load for the day, those people were the only people that I had direct contact with. I would go out and get my Starbucks or whatever and, come right back to my office. But I was never around people that much to where I could really get exposed to anything. But lo and behold, the first few months that I was even there, I got sick. Just on some normal, like, again, sinus pressure, everything, just on some normal shit before the pandemic. So imagine my reaction to when the whole pandemic was just starting and right before quarantine happened, before my hotel shut down for a while, I was scrubbing. I was cleaning everything. I had my own elevators so I can take the shipments down and everything. I cleaned the shit out of both of my elevators. I had 2 elevators. I cleaned everything, ceiling to floor. I cleaned the walls. I cleaned the path leading to the elevators from my office. Everything on my office, I just scrubbed. I was so scared. I was cleaning every single day, any chance that I got, really, because there were days where, it was really busy. My hotel was super busy right before the pandemic even happened. And the weeks leading up to it, I was just like, any 5 minutes that I have here and there, I'm going to scrub, I'm going to clean. There was also a few incidents where people will come in my office, I guess, for emergencies. People have copies of the key to my office. So there would be times where people will, there's a slow moment in the hotel and people would go in there and lounge and chill when I wasn't in there or wasn't there for the day. I would come to my office sometimes and my door would be completely wide open. Who knows who could have gone in and out of my office. It was stuff like that. And it really did scare me because I'm thinking back to those moments when the pandemic first started coming around and they're talking about COVID. I'm like, I don't know if someone's been in and out of my office today. Like, that's why I would go out of my way to clean.
All the cleaning in the world gets canceled out so quick.
Yeah.
As soon as one person that's gross comes and sits down, you got to clean it all over again.
There was times where all of my things would be misplaced or rearranged in my office. I can't have that when there's a pandemic going on. I can't watch who's going in and out of my office because, again, we were kind of busy during that time, so I wasn't always in my office. So if somebody just came through just to sit in my chair or do whatever in my office, I can't always be held accountable for every germ, everybody who comes in and out. It just got to a point where I can only imagine how essential workers feel, because those are public spaces that they have to work in. It's not just their office. It's not just their workspace. So I really, really do feel for those kind of people. I'm just glad that they put me on quarantine. They said, don't come back because we're not going to be busy anyways. I'm very thankful for that because honestly, I would be terrified to go back to work right now.
Especially if you have to deal with delivery drivers.
Oh, yeah.
They make 2-3 stops before they get to you. They go to one hotel, drop off their load. So they're interacting with the people at that hotel, touching those surfaces.
Yeah.
Get back in the truck, drop off another hotel stuff, talk to those people. Then they bring all that to you, dropping stuff off to you. Then you got to touch the stuff and check it in, and they're in your face talking.
Yeah.
Then you got to bring that stuff up and drop it off to the proper departments and deal with that.
Because I wasn't the only one. I wasn't the only person using the equipment too. So there would be times when someone's lazy and they don't want to use their own things, or they don't want to use their own equipment. Like if it's there, they're gonna use it. So it's like I have to go behind everybody. And you can't do that all the time. You can't, and it's just impossible. There were also times where, because I'm a female, some of these guys that would come through, they're friendly, we're chatting, they want to shake hands, and they want to, just touch everything and just be around me too close. And it's just like, dude, I don't need that. can you back it up?
Yeah.
Let's back it up.
Beep, back it up, homie.
Because some of these guys are like, they're older, they're family oriented, they're used to like touching and kikiing and whatever. I'm like, no. You need to go far away. When that pandemic hit, I was like, no, I would make excuses. I'm like, oh, you hear that? Phone's ringing. I gotta go. But I will tell you, the dirtiest people that would come through in my area were UPS and FedEx. You could see the dirt caked in their nails. It was so disgusting. I'm sorry for any of y'all who work at any like parcel delivery companies, but y'all dirty. Your hands are nasty. Like those are the nastiest hands I've ever seen in my life.
But it makes sense though. They're touching hundreds of boxes a day. These boxes have been sitting in their warehouse for weeks, collecting dirt and dust, and it's going from this truck to this warehouse to this truck to this warehouse, and it's finally on their truck. They're knocking on doors.
Yeah.
It's no surprise that it's all dirty.
It got to a point where I would get radioed saying that there's a delivery here. I'm like, yeah, just let them leave it at the front. I'll get it. Don't worry, I'll get it. Just leave it there.
Yeah. Now, I definitely feel that. Before the pandemic, as some of you know, I was working for one of the biggest audiovisual companies in the world. We specialize in big meetings and live events. In February, before we all got shut down, when we first heard about the COVID wave coming, we're getting trucks full of gear, of lights and speakers and microphones and all that stuff getting back. We're looking at one truckload is hundreds of pieces. We're trying to figure out like what we're supposed to do. In February, there wasn't like COVID protocols in the US yet. So we're sitting there like, are we supposed to clean all these equipment out? Because some of these shows have crews of 30 to 50 people.
And they're not cleaning that stuff behind themselves. So
there's people unloading the trucks. There's people setting it up. Then you get the people who are actually using the equipment. The people during the events or the meetings, they're picking up the microphones, passing it on to other people. We didn't know what to do either. We had gloves on and we tried to clean everything. It made work like 10 times longer. But even before that, we were still getting sick.
Yeah.
This equipment is going out to random people.
Yeah.
Every time I got sick at work was because someone else was sick.
Yeah.
Like you, I had my own office. I tried to make a social distancing rule before social distancing was a thing. Because I had an office and I was a manager, people had to come talk to me.
Right.
I would sit a chair out on the other side of my desk. If anyone had to talk to me, they either stand at the doorway and talk, or they sit in this chair that's far the hell away from me.
Yeah.
But yet I still got sick. People would be up in my grill, be whoa. Chair or doorway. It got to a point where I had to say, do not talk to me in my face. I do not want to get sick.
Right.
Mind you, we're in SoCal. There's no change of weather. There's not really a quote-unquote flu season.
Right.
This was pre-pandemic.
Right.
Like you, I'm glad we all got furloughed and shut down. Yes, it sucks that there's no money coming in and the industry is destroyed, but I would hate to be touching all this equipment knowing that there's gross people and germs out there that's bringing it back to us.
Knowing that a lot of people don't believe in COVID and don't want to go out of their way to not wash their hands or not like take protocol,
We were already getting sick before all this.
Exactly.
It's so crazy to think we're going into our 8th month of quarantine.
It is crazy.
I remember the speech my boss gave us back in March. Don't worry, guys. July, August, we're bouncing back. We're going to beat this. We'll be back to work. Now our industry has probably been hit harder than the restaurant industry. Live events aren't coming back until the world is ready to fully reopen.
Yeah, just because sports are ready to come back, they can't have audiences.
Yeah, sports, they can contain that, you know. It's just like they can play amongst themselves, but live events, concerts, meetings, we can't have that for a while.
Nah.
8 months of quarantine. Of course, people are losing it. But can you blame them at this point, though? Everyone's trying to do their best. Even all the people that are super conscious, even us, we're guilty of slipping every now and then. An extra trip to the grocery store just because you were craving chips. An extra trip out to your favorite restaurant just because you were too lazy to cook, even though you just went grocery shopping. We've all done that. We don't think about that as leaving home unnecessarily.
Right.
But we all do it. People are just getting tired of it, and we're starting to normalize life wearing a mask. We think just because we wear a mask, we can do whatever we want now.
Right.
We see that in grocery stores. We see people going 15 deep, got their friends, their families, just because everyone's looking for an excuse to get out the house. Grocery stores have become the new form of entertainment.
Right.
A couple weeks ago, Shana and I had to be in San Francisco. I had some issues with my passport that I needed to get sorted out. Unfortunately, all the offices in LA were either closed or booked up till next year. We figured, hey, while we're out here, maybe we can go get some food in Chinatown or something. We figured it could be safe and we could minimize contact with people.
Yeah, Chinatown looked and felt like an outdoor anime convention. There were like stalls of like fruits and different stores had things outside where people can see it and go inside and everything. But there were like parts of Chinatown where they were just congested, full of people trying to get fruit, just fruit. And we had to walk through all of that. I'm like, oh no, like I saw it like all happening in slow motion, like everybody was gathering in slow motion. I'm like, I can't walk that way.
Yeah, there was times where we had to walk on the street because the sidewalks were so full.
Yeah, you would think because these people were, they're older, you know, Chinese residents, and you would think that they wouldn't be out like that, but they were out, mask, everything. Like I even saw this one lady wearing something that looked like a plastic like coverall with her gloves and everything. I'm like, she's down for business. This is not the time to be out here. She's here for war.
Yeah.
And she really wants her bananas and whatever she's buying. It was crazy busy.
It just goes to show how much we've normalized this COVID life now.
Oh, yeah.
People were out in Chinatown like nothing was wrong.
And there were like steep hills. We live in SoCal, so like we're not really used to like steep hills. We're used to like maybe steep hills like in residential areas and whatever that we're not going anyways. But these were like hills, like really big hills. And all these little old people were making me look bad. I'm like out of breath, just stopping in the middle of the sidewalk like, I'll get there eventually. And they're like shaking their canes like, move out the way.
Yeah, Chinatown in San Francisco, the hills are no joke.
Oh, yeah.
There was moments where there were stores we wanted to go to, but we noticed they were on top of the hills. And we're like, nope, we're not going.
Some other time.
We're not going. We got tired. I feel for all the elderly that live in Chinatown.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a part of their life. Now to add COVID on top of it, I felt uncomfortable being there. I thought because we used to going to grocery stores,
right,
we could deal with the crowds. No, we weren't. We were not ready to be a part of the world again.
But did you notice that we were the only real tourists around there?
Yeah.
All of these people that live there in Chinatown, though, that's just the way of life for them.
Yeah.
COVID or not, that's just what they do every day. So they're used to it. But I felt like a jackass just being the only tourist out there. We're just like, you know, looking around and, you know, trying to see what we can see. But these people are trying to get food. They're trying to, you know, they're coming after work or whatever they're doing. They're running the businesses. They're trying to like make a living. And here we are just like, we want to look for roast duck and, you know, egg rolls.
Yeah. I felt kind of torn. On one end, I want to be COVID safe. I want to minimize exposing myself to people and exposing people to me. But then on the other end, I'm out here in San Francisco on some quote unquote business, some official stuff. If I'm going to get food, I want to support local businesses.
Right.
That's why I wanted to go to Chinatown. A lot of Chinatowns across the countries, they've been hit hard.
Yeah.
Thanks to a certain Oompa Loompa saying the China virus.
Yeah.
Ignorant ass people want to blame Chinese Americans
Exactly.
for COVID. Chinatowns have been hit hard all across the country. I wanted to put my money back into their pockets. We out here trying to support local Chinese businesses, but you can't help but just feel dirty because you're around people. Not dirty because you're around Chinese people. Just being out in public.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how difficult it was going to be to find a place to get food, but then to find a place to eat. A lot of restaurants were open, but it was takeout only.
Right.
Okay, that's cool, but we want to eat right now.
Right.
Our hotel was half an hour away from Chinatown. We weren't ready to go back in the car, drive all the way back to the hotel.
Makes me wonder how people are still trying to be out there vacationing right now. Like, I have a friend who's, I know you watching this, but I have this friend who's on a road trip right now, or he was during the time of this filming. He's just been going from city to city. It was a hassle for us just on some local shit, just trying to get some food real quick, and, you know, we're just passing through. We had a hard enough time trying to find not only a restaurant, but somewhere to sit down and eat. How are you on the road doing this, going from city to city to state to state? Like, isn't that a hassle? Like, how did you do this? You know? A lot of hotels in different states aren't really opening and fully functioning like that. So you have to go out and find food and go out and find another source of, you know, what they can't serve you at the hotel. So it's like, how do you do that cross country?
It was exhausting just for those couple days we were in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I feel that. I have a friend who's been traveling. She's a Chicago girl. She also watches the podcast, so I love you.
Shout out.
But I got to use you for an example. She be traveling all the time. Unlike your friend, she's flying from place to place. So she's in and out the airport. And then she also has a significant other that lives out of state. So she's flying to see him, and then they go vacation. That's exhausting.
It is.
You're already in and out of airports trying to stay clean. Now you're in a new town trying to place not only where you can eat, but sit.
Yeah.
1 or 2 days of that, I was already tired.
Because, like, what do you do when you go out of the state to see somebody? You know, it's like they could stay home and cook for you, sure. But, like, you're out of town. You want to go out and, like, see things. And...
Yeah, most states you can't even dine in yet.
Nah.
That was our problem in San Francisco. A lot of the places we wanted to eat, they didn't have outdoor patio setups.
Right.
We didn't want to just sit on some street corner and eat. Chinatown, San Francisco also has a lot of homeless people out there. All the good places to sit and eat, the homeless people already took. They're already sleeping on those benches.
Right.
We ended up finding some bomb-ass place, but it was super pricey.
Oh, yeah.
What was it called? Like Non-King? Or the food was bomb.
It was so good.
It was bomb. But
so good.
When you think of Chinatown, you're not thinking $20 a dish.
Right.
We didn't even look at the menu beforehand. We just saw that they got outdoor seating. Screw it. Let's
It was
sit here.
clean. It looked good.
Yeah.
So there were so many places I wanted to try, though, but it was not doable.
I got a rule about Chinatowns. I want to eat where there's animals hanging in the window. Unfortunately, all those places did not have anywhere to sit.
And it looked so good. It smelled so good.
I really wanted some roasted duck or some barbecue pork, but I didn't want to eat it on the street.
Yeah, because there was already enough people on the street. So if we were just to stand still and eat, it wouldn't have gone well.
Yeah, a lot of those places are the quote-unquote hood spots that they're cheap and they taste good. A lot of these places we saw, there was people lined up, locals. Yeah. You know, if you in like a Chinatown or like an Asian town of some sort and you see locals eating there, you know it's good.
They already knew the deal, though. They were about to take that and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Go back home because they probably live on top of the restaurant.
That's the key to finding good ethnic food. If you ever go to a Little Italy and you see a bunch of Italians actually eating there, you go to Chinatown, see Chinese people eating there, you know that's some good food when the people of that race and of that city eat there. If you see a bunch of white folks and no one else,
run.
Run, Forrest, run. You want to eat somewhere else.
You know that's some fusion shit.
Yeah, you might as well go back to Panda Express and get your food a little bit quicker.
No offense. I'm just saying.
No, all the offense. That's not authenticity. That's just a tourist trap. I've been there. I've done that wrong.
But before we get off topic of traveling, I just want to put it out there, the hotel struggle. When we were in San Francisco, we brought our own Lysol, our own paper towels, our own like cleaning solutions and stuff like that, and sanitized the entire hotel room before we even like sat on the bed or sat on the furniture. Your girl used to work at a hotel, so I know what they clean and not clean, or what they kind of like turn a blind eye to sometimes because they're, in the middle of being busy or whatever, what have you. I had to be sure. Your girl ain't sitting nowhere without being sanitized first. Nah. No.
Yeah, that was something else I didn't even think about.
Oh, yeah.
Until a day before the trip.
Oh, yeah.
It hit me like, do we really trust this hotel to sanitize this room for us?
And that's another video, but I can tell you what they choose not to clean or spruce up for you. They just kind of like fluff it and make it look nice real quick. And they just, do what they do. Call it a day.
As many cons as I've been to.
Oh, yeah.
The stories my friends have told me, even my own experiences. We've all done some questionable things in hotel rooms where there may or may not have been bodily fluids in other places but the bed.
Ew.
Yeah, they changed the bed sheets, but they don't change the couch. They don't change the curtains.
That is very true.
I was listening to a stand-up comic. I forgot who he was. He was like, because I'm always on tour, one of my favorite things to do when I'm in hotels is to make it as disgusting as possible. I like to wipe my ass on the curtains.
Oh.
I know they don't change the curtains.
Ew.
It's me leaving my mark across America.
And you see, Exhibit A as to why I don't trust that shit. Because we don't. I can't say that now. But like, we didn't used to do that. I wasn't a housekeeper, but I would be keeping a close eye because I was the laundry girl. So like, I had to, clean certain things. But, there's certain things that they just didn't require you to clean. So it's like, why am I going to go and do it myself?
Yeah. I don't like sitting on couches at some hotels.
I will put down a towel or something because chances are, because people steal towels all the time, those towels are new. They're brand new, like straight out the box, because people will steal towels all day long.
Yeah.
So they're replacing those like so often to where towels are okay. Towels are okay.
Towels and sheets, but like I said, they ain't changing the couch.
No. Nope.
I'll be the first to admit I've had sex on a hotel couch.
And I'll admit I've seen some couches in my day where I'm just like, oh God.
So yeah.
And they did not clean that shit.
Either you or someone you know has definitely left some DNA behind. So now add COVID on top of that. That's definitely a CSI Miami episode.
I could go on for like a long time talking about the shit I've seen in hotels. It's a horror movie. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's horror.
Never bring a black light. Do yourself a favor.
I didn't even have one. I didn't even do that because I was already scared by what I saw.
You don't even need that. Yeah.
I don't even need that. I don't even need it. I already know it because I see it.
So once again, I don't know how people just comfortably travel. Because hotels are gross enough to begin with. Let's just be honest. We've all destroyed hotel rooms in one way or another.
We've all done questionable things. It's just because you could.
Yeah.
Just because it wasn't your house. It wasn't your living room. Not your sheets, not your towels or whatever.
Yeah.
So why not?
Exactly.
And that's how people act, though. It's so gross. It's like, you wouldn't do that in your own house. Why are you up in my house doing this shit?
I wouldn't give people that much credit.
Oh, my God.
I've got some friends where I don't want to sit on their couches either.
But I'm just saying, if you sit there and make a mess, you're not going to sit there and clean it at your own house. So why are you going to sit up here and do that thinking that someone's going to come behind you and clean it up? But you know what? You're right about that, though. Some people just be nasty. Just straight up nasty.
We all got those friends where we don't want to sit anywhere.
Because you know they nasty. You know their little ass is nasty. Ew.
With all that said, I'm not in any rush to go back to cons.
Nope.
I'm definitely not in any rush to go back to a con where I have to stay in a hotel.
Oh, yeah. Definitely not. There was this one convention out here in SoCal called Los Angeles Comic Con. Used to be called Kamikaze back when Stan Lee was running it.
It was originally scheduled for October. But then back in July, they canceled it and pushed it to December.
We've been seeing like cons getting canceled left and right because of COVID, but then I saw them saying, oh, we're still going to go on for December, because at the time it was still like August or September. They were saying, we can still have this event, but you're going to have to wear a mask and you can't be in cosplay. Part of the fun of going to conventions is wearing cosplay. So if you're taking the one and only thing that makes me feel like I'm at a con, then I'm not going to go anyway. It's like, why?
Seeing all these modified rules, I get they're there for safety.
Yeah.
But they're also hindering your experience. I really thought about going. I've done press for them for years. I already had the badges for this year. They did take a lot of precautions, such as they booked the entire convention center, which is huge.
Yeah.
They usually only book one side of it. The only other con that's probably big enough to book the entire Los Angeles Convention Center has been Anime Expo or E3. This con definitely doesn't even book up one side of it.
Yeah.
They wanted to space out the con as much as they could. Then they had all these modified rules, as Shana said, masks at all times, sanitation and temperature checkpoints, and also to avoid crowding and stopping traffic, they said no cosplay. They didn't want cosplayers being stopped for pictures. With all these things being modified, how do you really enjoy an event?
Right.
Even the guests, you're not allowed to really meet and greet with them. You can step up, but then they have to step back. You pick what you want. You kind of do this dance where you come up to the booth, pick what you want, you take a step back, then they come and sign it. You pay your money, then they step back.
Yeah.
You can only take a picture with you at their booth, and then they're like way back because they have to stay 6 feet away from you. So you get all these awkward pictures. It's just too much. Just being in the hotel is crappy enough.
Right.
And then you add all these modified rules. There was another con in Iowa that still went on. I forgot the name of it. The con chair is problematic. The people from the Midwest, especially my Chicago friends and family, they know who this problematic con chair is. Anyways, he had a con in Iowa that still took place. Someone took pictures of that con and posted videos. That looked like a terrible time. Their social distancing measures were awful. And just seeing how empty and barren the con was, they did space out the vendors' booths, but in all the pictures, you can probably see that there's like 30 to 50 people at this entire con. And at some point, it looked like the cosplayers got sick of social distancing, so they all just grouped together in a huddle.
Wow.
They were all wearing masks, but eventually, I bet they got bored of being so separated. You may go there with your friend as you and your one friend, and that's it. But at some point, you're going to want to like talk to other people, take pictures. So then you see a video of them all huddling and just dancing together. And it's like, oh, so much for social distancing. This con made all these posts about, we're going to enforce social distancing. We're going to make sure people are apart. They did none of that. Because if they did, you wouldn't have seen this video of every cosplayer in one corner huddled together. As much as I would love to go back to cons, this modified experience just doesn't seem appealing. You spend all this money to prepare a cosplay, book a hotel, travel, just for this mediocre experience.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. We all should just wait it out so we can have a full experience again. Do you really want these modified experience? Do you really want to go to a con where you can't cosplay or take pictures of people or mingle or, meet up with your friends? No.
When we were at conventions pre-pandemic, it was work enough to be there at certain times because you're wearing a cosplay that people want to take pictures of. And it's like you had to, do crowd control with that. If you're wearing like a cosplay that's popular and everybody wants a picture of it, it's not just one photographer. Because once a photographer gets your attention, once they stop you like in the middle of traffic, then that's when everybody wants to take pictures at the same time. So imagine that during this pandemic world where you're causing traffic, you're causing people to gather in drones and like different pockets of people. I've seen certain cosplayers just attract so many people, not even just photographers. People will just gather and look at what you're doing. Once you have that kind of like commotion going on by you, it's hard to even like get through to like, get to to another side of the convention center itself because you're in the middle of the way with all these photographers and all these people. So imagine that in a pandemic world. Some of y'all who aren't wearing masks and whatever think it's cute and whatever, and you're in this pocket, you're just creating more germs, more unnecessary germs. I don't think I'll be going to a con anytime soon.
Yeah, just the thought of it just gives me the willies.
Yeah.
The willies. I haven't said that in years. The willies. All these younger kids are like, what the hell are the willies?
They're going to look it up and they're going to find something else.
Yeah. Bunch of dicks.
I know, right?
But yeah, just like you said, I don't think I would be comfortable going back to a con anytime soon.
Nah.
I saw another video clip. I forgot what the con was, but it was a video clip with everyone's most hated voice actor, Vic Mangina. He was doing his panel. For some reason, he had like 3 or 4 microphones. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's an ego thing where he needs all these mics to talk, but he did.
All these mics.
There's a moment where someone pans to the audience. Mm-hmm. There's definitely no social distancing. His audience is just crowded together, listening to him talk. And there's a point where, whether he was being sarcastic or not, it was a very ill-timed, inappropriate joke. He was like, I'm paraphrasing, he pretty much said, I'm glad to see you guys are out here at the conventions. We're not afraid of COVID, right? You guys aren't scared of a little virus.
Wow.
Like, bro, you're already struggling to get booked because you've been canceled by the cosplay and anime convention community. Why would you say shit like that saying COVID isn't real?
Right.
And for those who are the Vic stans, he's been on his own platforms talking multiple times about how he doesn't really think this is real. Mm-hmm. He's on some woke conspiracy shit. Mm-hmm. I was just in the comments and people were just like, he was just being sarcastic. He was just making a joke. Well, he wasn't joking on his own platforms. Whether he was joking or not, I was never a fan of him from the start before the scandals broke out. I just feel no matter who you are, you shouldn't be saying that shit.
You shouldn't, especially when you have a platform such as his. Like, there's people who like cancel him, but there's also a million other people who haven't canceled him. So you still have a platform. Why would you use it to like hinder people and like, you know, talk bad about something? And like, there's like younger people who follow him too. So like, why would you use this opportunity to be dumb? You know,
exactly.
Like, for lack of better words,
exactly.
I can't even like come up with a better way of saying it. Like, why would you use
dumb?
This?
In the words of Remy Ma, are you dumb?
Even if you don't personally believe in it, there's still people out there who can get sick very easily, including myself. I don't want to be out there where I can like just be exposed to everything and everybody, and it's just crazy. But why would you tell that to younger people who are so just, you know, lambs to your shepherd, you know?
It's bad enough that you're a guest at this convention. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, this convention hasn't canceled you. And now there's people also at this convention. Mm. And now these people are crowded, not social distancing, just to hear you talk this bullshit.
Yeah.
Just red flags all over the place. Shame on you, shame on the con, and shame on those attendees that could have been doing better.
I know, seriously. With all that said, make sure you go vote.
Voting is so important this time around.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of us blew it off in 2016, and we have paid the price.
Oh, yeah.
Now we have an Oompa Loompa in office just talking out his ass and making shit up as he goes along. Mm-hmm. Even if you're a Trump supporter, go vote. At the very least, if Trump wins again, we can know that he won because his supporters voted for him. Unlike 2016, where he won because people just didn't care to vote.
Or they just took it as a joke, like, oh, what if Trump was president? Wouldn't that be funny?
That's even worse. All you people who are just like, well, Biden's no better. Let me break it down to you. If you vote for Trump, you're a Trump supporter. If you vote for Biden, you're a Biden supporter. But if you don't vote, you're still supporting Trump.
Yeah.
If you write in Bernie or Pac-Man or Snoop Doggy Dog and Pikachu in the write-in section for your person you want to vote for, you're also supporting Trump. Mm-hmm. That shit ain't funny.
Just like how y'all voted other or green or whatever it was when it was Trump versus Clinton. Yeah, that was not cool.
You're pretty much throwing your vote away.
You pretty much are. And now that you know that there's a lesser of two evils, pick the lesser of two evils, please.
Unfortunately, that's where we're at. Regardless of how you feel about Joe Biden, we are in a situation where we have to choose between the lesser of two evil. Like I said, if you're a Trump supporter, wave that racist flag proudly. But don't be surprised when people ain't trying to mess with you no more. That's your right.
Exactly.
At least you exercise your right to vote. I'm addressing all of y'all who don't want to vote or think it's cute to write in random shit.
We're at the point in this day and age election where it's Trump leading the other racist population that are out there thinking that racism is okay. Like the things that you don't see in your own hometown because you're in Chicago or you're in another major city. Think about the people in the deep South. Think about the people who are still out there being prejudiced and being racist on like back in the day kind of ways. Those are the people that are following Trump. Don't you want to get those kind of people out of office? Because while Trump is in office right now, he's saying that it's okay to be racist. He's saying it's okay to be prejudiced. He's saying it's okay for those things to happen again. So wouldn't you want there to be another person who's not about that life? That's all it really comes down to, in my opinion. So why wouldn't you want that? Why wouldn't you want your friends, your gay friends, your black friends, your Latina friends, your whoever, your minority friends, why wouldn't you want them to live a better existence?
It's funny to see these Trump campaigns talking about Biden's America. This is going to happen. This bad thing is going to happen. Violence and drugs and rape. All these bad things are going to happen. Isn't this Trump's America right now? Mm-hmm. Why would we want 4 more years of the bullshit we're already experiencing? We don't know what Biden's America looks like because we're living in Trump's America.
Yeah.
All these examples, look at this riot, look at this looting, look at this unemployment. This is all shit that you've done, Trump. 2020 has probably been the worst year in America for a long time, but people forget 2016 to 2020 has also been the worst presidency in a long time well. 2020 just made us forget about the first 3 years of the Orange Man's reign.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you said 2020 was Trump's fault, that's enough to overshadow the last 3 years. But this is still under this man's rule.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, y'all didn't like Obama or who came before him. It's like, we're not at that point right now. We are past that. We don't even have that luxury to like weigh out who's right, who's wrong. Trump has done a lot of wrong in these past 4 years that he's been president. You would really have to be racist. You would really have to be just one of those people to where it's just like, you have to see it. You have to see the difference that's going on right now. Like, just because you don't like Biden, okay, is Trump better than Biden? Don't vote green. Don't vote other. Vote for the person who, a better way, not even a long way, a better way than Trump. That's all I'm saying.
It's been interesting to see people watch the presidential debates. It's like, do you really have to watch this? Do you really have to hear what this dumbass has to say? And it makes me question my peers. All these people are quote unquote woke who want better. Why would you even waste your time to listen to the dumbass shit this man has to say?
Yep.
It makes me wonder, like, there's more Trump supporters in my circle than I really thought. I know who I'm going to vote for. I don't need to watch the presidential debate. At this point, I'm choosing between the lesser two evils. I don't care. I'm doing everything it takes to get the person that I don't like away from the winning seat.
Yeah.
That's it. But yet some of my friends were just like, I don't agree with Trump, but they still watching these debates like they're questioning.
It's like, do you need any more examples? 4 years wasn't enough for you?
You've lived 4 years of his bullshit.
It blows my mind that there's still people out there trying to like excuse Trump for all of his wrongdoings, and it baffles me. It's like, do you really want this for another 4 years? If not, vote for someone who has a fighting chance. I get it, like Biden this, Biden that. You don't want to vote for him, whatever. But green does not have a chance. Other does not have a chance right now. Vote for the person that has a better chance, who is better than Trump. And then we'll worry about them later.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it really comes down to me. Is just get the worst person out. Now.
Yeah. Y'all got to let go of this Bernie shit. Bernie been done. I want Andrew Yang. I want an Asian man in office. Yang Gang, because he was talking about giving everybody $1,200 a month on some universal income shit. But y'all didn't want him, so he dropped out. So this is who we got.
Exactly. This is all we got. And y'all need to stop making excuses. Y'all need to stop making this a joke, because it's not a joke. It was a joke in 2016. Great. Congratulations. Is it funny to you? Is it still funny to you 4 years later? Is it still funny? Ask yourself that question and vote for the right person. Or at least somebody who's better than Trump.
As for the 2016 election, the numbers were staggering. Trump barely won. Mm-hmm. If the people that didn't vote just voted, they could have turned the tides.
Oh, yeah. And we wouldn't be here now.
Yeah. We wouldn't be living in the worst era in America in a long time.
So ask yourself, is it still funny to you?
But anyways, didn't mean to make it political at the end. But by the time y'all see this podcast, it's going to be time to vote a couple days later.
It's political. The world is political. What do you want? It's political.
Yeah.
It is.
But yeah, by the time y'all see this podcast, it's going to be time to vote a couple days later. Make sure you exercise your right as Americans. Make sure you exercise the right that so many of your forefathers have fought for. However old you are, someone in your life has suffered to either fight for the right to vote or they have suffered because they couldn't vote. Mm-hmm. If you're a minority, especially if you're a minority, this is your chance to start making a difference. I wish I had something funny to say, but I don't.
There's nothing funny going on right now.
It's just that serious. I wish I had something lighthearted to say at the end of all this, but nah, it's serious, guys. Coronavirus ain't no joke. You may not know someone personally that has been affected by this, but I'm sure you know someone that knows someone. A lot of you guys know me.
We're personal. Yeah. You know us. We're personal. You know us. My dad is sick. His brother's sick. What more do you need? What more proof do you need?
Or if you don't think corona is real, whatever this new sickness is, people are dying and about to die.
You don't have to call it corona if you don't personally feel like it.
You can just call it the super flu that makes you feel better. But there's something out there that's killing people, that's infecting our friends and families, and it's no joke. So with that said, stop being stupid, wear a mask, social distance, all those protocols. This sickness is real. Whatever you want to call it, you can call it peanut butter booty disease for all I care. Someone getting sick out there, right?
Peanut butter booty disease?
I don't know. It's more catchy.
I like that.
People getting sick, and it's sticking to you like peanut butter.
On your booty.
On your booty. So, with that said, guys, be safe. Be aware of others. You may not get sick, but others will.
Yep.
And make sure you go vote next week.
Please.
It's so serious.
Just do us a favor.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Shinobi Squad Podcast. Make sure you follow all the social medias. All the links are below. I'm Fan Service Renji.
I'm Shana Mostella.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.